Hello everyone. So, I'm going to be taking a very different route for this second video on my channel. Just a quick warning, this is going to be a very computer-y centric video. This video is essentially going to give a look back to 2017 to one of the, what I'd say is one of the most damaging exploits that ever happened in the security community. The date is April 14th, 2017. A normal day for most. However, a hacker group known as the Shadow Brokers were about to change the world. This is because they managed to get a hold of a metric fuckload of exploits that are supposedly in use by the NSA at the time. There's actually a repository on GitHub that has the original Shadow Brokers dump and all of the contents of it archived. All of these exploits have really silly names, I'll be honest. But the one we're going to be focusing on in this video is called EternalBlue, if the title didn't make that obvious. Now, EternalBlue essentially is a piece of code that would allow an attacker to gain the same permissions as the actual system user on any Windows 7 system. More specifically, by remotely, I essentially mean over a LAN connection. In its original form, the NSA would use this exploit to install a backdoor known as DoublePulsar. This DoublePulsar backdoor would allow the attacker to execute any code they want on the target system. What followed could best be described as a bloodbath of infected machines and backdoored hosts. By the 23rd of April 2017, security researcher Dan Tentler, in doing his massive scans of the entire internet, had located 143,422 infected hosts. Unfortunately, the numbers only get worse from there. A few days later, the number reached over 428,000 infected hosts. During this period, security researchers both feared and expected this exploit to become more and more weaponized and widely used. Which brings us to May 12th, 2017. And our primary antagonist for this story, if you will. Introducing WannaCry, one of the most destructive pieces of ransomware that may have ever been manufactured. WannaCry's story begins a few months prior to EternalBlue's, on February 10th, 2017. This was the first time WannaCry was spotted in the wild, so to say. But, as I've already stated, on April 14th of the same year, Shadow Brokers released the exploit code for EternalBlue. And unfortunately, less than a month later on May 12th, a new wave of WannaCry attacks had begun. This time, these attacks used EternalBlue to spread. And as we know, EternalBlue allows you to gain remote administrator access to any machine on the same local network. The security researchers' fears had been realized. According to Europol, the WannaCry ransomware attack was unprecedented in scale. But the biggest victim? The British National Health Services. But the UK wasn't the only country or organization hit. Many different organizations all over the world were affected by this ransomware. A security researcher known as MalwareTech discovered something quite interesting inside WannaCry. Upon first running on the infected system, WannaCry would try to look up a website that did not exist. If the lookup succeeded, the virus would exit without executing on the host. This so-called kill switch was inserted by the authors of WannaCry so as they don't infect their own machines in their labs. This method backfired on the authors when the security researcher purchased that non-existent website and made it exist for the entire internet. This, for a short period of time, killed WannaCry's spreading capabilities. It bought some time, but not much, because the next day, WannaCry's authors released a new version of their ransomware. This version of the ransomware had a different kill switch embedded in it, but that kill switch was also bought up by a security researcher and sinkholed, so that way the spread was stopped again. I'd say that's the end of the story, but that would be misleading. Reportedly, WannaCry is still spreading to this day as a version with no kill switch inside of it. Thankfully, WannaCry has grown less and less effective over the years, due to people installing the security update for EternalBlue. And with that, the story of WannaCry comes to a close. But a new challenger is on the horizon, and its name is NotPetya. Like WannaCry, NotPetya also used the EternalBlue exploit to spread. However, it also used some other tactics as well, namely dumping the passwords of infected hosts and attempting to use those passwords on anything else on the network. This tactic greatly increased its virality above WannaCry. This attack's patient zero, so to say, was a hijacked piece of software known as MeDoc, a Ukrainian tax reporting software. This attack was later attributed to the Russian government. Like WannaCry, NotPetya would encrypt all of the user's files. Unlike WannaCry, this piece of malware had no kill switch. According to the White House, an estimated $10 billion were lost to this malware. But like WannaCry, as people started installing the update that patched EternalBlue, NotPetya began to spread less and less. Oh, before my conclusion, quick side note. Later on down the line, EternalBlue was modified and updated to target Windows 10 as well. And security updates had to be pushed out from everything from 10 to XP. And XP, by the way, had already reached end of life, so this was an unprecedented move from Microsoft. Which brings me to my conclusion and my reason for making this video in the first place. As I said in the beginning of this video, the data dump containing EternalBlue was released on April 14th. One thing I have failed to mention is that on March 14th, a month earlier, the patch for EternalBlue was released. Which brings me to my conclusion. If all of these major corporations and businesses had installed the security update that Microsoft released when it came out, this problem would never have happened. Security updates are important. They're the thing that keeps our computers safe from this sort of attack. That's all I have to share with you today. Sources for everything that I have just said should be linked in the description, as well as the relevant Wikipedia articles if you want to do some extra reading, and a few technical breakdowns into how these exploits and viruses worked, if you're into that sort of thing.